Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News, September 26th, 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to share something with you that I've been working on for the last couple of days. Ever since this whole climate change situation has now hit the media worldwide, we are seeing, well, let's put it this way. I'm seeing something very unusual happening, and I've been collaborating with my climatology professor friends and also a few others. Without going into a bunch of detail, a couple of years ago, I joined this social media hacker board on the internet. And that's not what you think. They're not hacking into people's accounts. I believe that the people that belong to this little underground network, it seems that at one point in time they were probably employed by Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. They seem to be, in the engineering realm. And, I kind of got in there because I was asking questions about how they use their algorithms to censor people like me and many others. And, they've been helping me out, but there's really nothing you can do to circumvent the social media censorship. But anyways, there's a lot of other information that these guys talk about on this social media hacker board. That's just what I call it. But they were seeing these trends. A lot of times, if you are posting conspiratorial pictures, stories, videos, things of that nature, they do this thing on Facebook called de-throttling. That simply means that very, 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 very few people will see your post or your video or your picture. And YouTube kind of does the same thing. They do it with their algorithms and not notifying people and so on and so forth. Now, all of a sudden, one of these guys tipped me off. He says, "Hey, I saw your video on the little Swedish girl, Greta Thunberg, and he said, we've been noticing now that all of these videos that are being posted on Facebook and YouTube and even Twitter are now being freely upgraded, basically, in the algorithms. News articles, same thing. However, if you are on some of these blacklists, it doesn't matter. Your articles, your videos, nothing's going to get through. However, they literally want you to see the barrage of articles all over the internet, all over Facebook, all over YouTube and Twitter, talking about climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, I listened to what they had to say. We all went back and forth, and then they started to show me. They have a computer program. I forget what the hell it's called. Law enforcement uses it now. Way upper levels of law enforcement like FBI and CIA and stuff like that. I forget what it's called, but it's very, very expensive. You actually have to subscribe to it. It's like about $5,000 a month. But what it does is you put in these parameters, and it literally searches all of social media around the world with pretty good accuracy. And then it brings up all of these things that were in your parameters. And it also links in like Google Earth and Google Maps and things of that things of that nature. But it's really, really cool. But anyways, they were showing me real quick doing making these parameter changes and putting in these things about climate change. And wow, My God! Hundreds of thousands of articles, millions of posts. I mean, it just ran its way around the globe very, very rapidly. Now, could you imagine if people like me and other truthers, if their videos and their articles and their posts ran rapid like that around the globe? Wow, you want to talk about something going viral. Hell, I could barely reach 0.5% of the people that subscribe to my YouTube channel. What they were showing me was the agenda. And look, that word is used in, I see all of these things on Facebook and YouTube, Agenda 21, Agenda 30, Agenda 40, whatever. But what the agenda is now they are really realizing that we're in big trouble. Just like this article from my own news station here in Pittsburgh, Channel 4 Action News, one of three big news stations. Bingo. I mean, here's their feature article. The New York Times, the New York Post, the Washington Post, the LA Times, the Chicago Tribune. I mean, oh my God, the USA Today. I mean, they're talking about it on Fox. They're talking about it on CNN. They're talking about it on ABC, NBC, MSNBC, the BBC, the CBC. Oh my God. All of a sudden, it just comes out of nowhere. Let me go ahead and pull up the live chat here real quick, and I'm going to try not to make this a 2-hour live stream. And I say that every time, and I never do that. But anyways, I'm sorry to have this live stream so late at night, but I'm burning the candle at both ends in my day-to-day. I'm pushing like 14, 15 hours. But anyways, folks, there's a lot of things that they're really, really not telling you. They're putting out all of these statistics and all of this supposed scientific evidence, but they're really, really not giving you root causes. The main root cause that they do put out there is the greenhouse gases. But folks, that doesn't talk about how our seas, our oceans, now even massive bodies of water like lakes are heating up. How is that possible? Again, we are receiving a lot of heat in the form of radiation from the sun. Earlier, 23rd, 24th, and yesterday, our magnetosphere was just being absolutely destroyed. I have a short video for you. I'll show you that. Massive coronal hole. I talked about that a few days ago that was facing the Earth and how it was going to induce a lot of earthquakes. I mentioned that even a week ago. And sure enough, just over the last 48 hours, earthquake activity around the globe has been going straight up. I think we had a magnitude 6, 6.5, 6.1, something like that. We'll go over that. But what these guys were showing me today, what's happening on the internet, is they are literally using all of these titles. A climate panel sees dire future, nastier weather systems. Folks, what have I been talking about for the last 3.5, almost 4 years? Mentioning this back in 2016 and 17 and last year, telling people that this was going to happen. People, they troll you, they call you a liar, they call you every name in the book, they try to turn your life upside down. That's what it's been like for me for the last 3.5 years. Now, the climate trolls, they disappeared. Why is that? Because they're not on duty for this subject matter. Why? Folks, everything that you see going on right now in the media, the mainstream media, again, which is controlled, all media is controlled by the globalists. They own all of the companies, all of the newspapers, all of the magazines, all of the news stations, a lot of news websites. So now they're putting all of this information out there, and this information's making its way around the world within seconds. But videos of mine, articles of mine, and many other truthers, no, forget about it. It's not going to happen. So they're basically pushing on all of us this little Swedish girl, teenage activists, almost rioting in New York City and Washington, D.C. And we're going to see much, much more of this. So now it's even showing up in my own local news. And my local news around here, all three news stations are relatively slow getting information out. I mean, I usually have news on my news website within a few minutes of it happening. Some of the local news here takes them about a day. But, after reviewing this article here and, reading some of this, they got this from the Associated Press coming out of New York. And it states that Earth is in more hot water than ever before. And so are we. An expert at the United Nations Climate Panel warns in a grim new report on Wednesday. I've been seeing this same quote in a grim report. Rising sea levels, nastier weather, bigger storms, hotter temperatures, colder temperatures, drought, excessive rain, flooding, earthquakes, volcanoes. Well, what in the Sam hell have I been talking about, and probably thousands of other truthers? Oh, we didn't know what we were talking about in 2015, 16, 17, and 18, did we? Yeah, but they're still not giving us the real deal, okay? These things just don't transpire on the Earth. There are other bigger factors. What is happening out there outside of our atmosphere, what we call space, our inner solar system, our sun. Oh. I saw one article today, one article that snuck by, and it was in reference to us moving deeper into this solar minimum, which is going to create a ton of problems, folks, and we are only in the beginning stages of it. So let me forewarn you, this is a decade-long system that we're going to be going through, a decade or more. I warned about that last year and most of this year. Nobody seems to want to believe me. But now you can see all of these reports are coming out. I'll give you guys a link to this article. Look, you could find this article almost copied verbatim around the world in 50 different languages, because that is exactly what's being done. They are pushing this agenda that man causes all of this. But that doesn't make any sense, because greenhouse gas emissions, industrial emissions, actually has been going down, especially here in the United States. Can't speak for the Chinese because, they just don't care. But as their economy is slowing down, so is their production and their output of pollution. But folks, it takes more than this to create the whole situation that is brewing. Now, one thing that I do agree with, and I've talked about it many, many other times, that is moving away from the coast. Look, I'm not going to try to scare a bunch of people, but the fact of the matter is the North Pole is melting very, very rapidly. Glaciers in Iceland and Alaska and New Zealand are literally disappearing and also melting. With all of the excessive amounts of rain worldwide, they are predicting now, and that is one of the things that I agree with them, is that we are going to suffer sea level rise. And you can see the damage that storm surge has done from 2017, 18, and this year dealing with hurricanes. Some of the biggest damage has been done by the storm surge. Case in point, just a few weeks ago, the devastation in the Bahamas. They expected a sea level rise of about 10 to 12 feet. Well, there were recorded statistics of about 23 feet. So, yeah, the science can be dead wrong, because we still have to understand and keep in the back of our mind, ladies and gentlemen, that science is driven by government money. Okay, we all know that. Scientists are kind of, they're kind of yellow-bellied. And if they're working off of grants and things of that nature for research, and these are government grants, or whoever is signing the checks, whether it be old Georgie Soros or Al Gore or Bill Gates, or just a consortium of the globalists saying, hey, listen, we need you to get on this side of the tracks with this climate change and put this information out, put your name on it. You're a scientist. Yeah. So that's what I've been seeing also. I've been seeing these scientists putting their names on these reports and these articles as references. So we know it's happening. But again, they're just not telling us the real reasons. We all know the real reasons. It's actually going to get much, much worse. Some of the issues that are occurring in the North Pole, my climatology group that I belong to, I'm actually the only outsider that they've allowed in their little group, and it's not on Facebook or anything like that. They have their own one of those boards, they call them, like Q and that Anon, but it's private. And I got to know one of the climatologists who's a professor about 3 years ago, and I've been collaborating with him and getting their information on what they're seeing. Now, they're not reporting it in the public, because if they do, well, they'll all lose their jobs. And they've all said the same thing. They can't afford that. And they see what has happened to other scientists who have gone off of mainstream. Same thing happened to Dr. Albers. Bingo, man. They will blackball you, and they will ruin your life. First part of ruining your life is ruining your life financially and your reputation. But anyways, I was chatting with them in a video conference for 3 hours earlier, and the information that they're seeing is completely different than what is being placed out there in these articles. And now you can go to Google and just type in the word climate. You don't even have to use the word climate change. And then I'll tell you what, we'll show you. I'll show you an example of this. Let's get out of here, and we'll just go to the plain Google Google search engine. And let's just go up here and we'll type in climate. That's it. We'll just type in climate. And then now we see climate and blah, blah, blah. It talks about what is climate. But then you come over here, click to news, and let's see what comes up. 439 million results you see right here. Wow. So all of the articles are now starting to come out. Look, you see, look right here. Washington Post, the Rolling Stone, well, the Weather Channel, naturally, and USA Today, CBS News, Market Watch, Science News, CNN, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Time Magazine, again, CBS News. Oh, Snopes or Snoops, what a garbage website. NBC News, the New York Post, the Guardian, once again, Time. So my point is that just about every single one of these articles is pretty much the same. But they're never going to tell you the actual real truth. So here's the root of my live stream here. Okay, we know that this is happening. We don't really know how fast this acceleration is going to be, but from my conversation earlier, they're going to be able to judge this acceleration by the spring of 2020, okay, which is, well, basically around the corner, okay? So we're going to get through fall, and we're going to go into winter, and wintertime is going to be really, really crazy, but in parts of the world. Not the whole northern hemisphere is going to get, wiped out this winter. They're going to have a lot of big issues in the southern hemisphere, mainly the southern tip of Africa, the continent of Africa, South America, and mainly Australia and parts of New Zealand. They're going to get hammered, and there may be some additional problems that will brew in the South Pacific region, Indonesia, areas like that. There may be a huge possibility, from what these guys are telling me, that there may be massive typhoons and cyclones that start to form in November and December that are going to be in the lower southern hemisphere. So we'll see how that pans out. And they said they're going to be superstorms. So we'll see. So I'm going to keep up with their information. I can't share any of the graphs and stuff that they share with each other in that private board. They've been very good to me over the last several years. I've shared my information with them, and they've shared theirs with me. They've been completely blown away by what I've shown them. And at first they didn't believe it. Then they started putting a lot of things together. And as I explained things to them, putting my information together on what is happening out there, and them putting their information together with mine about what is happening here on this planet, it took them about 9 months of me continually feeding them information on my findings, and then they were comparing what they were finding, blending it together, and they're like, wow, this acceleration has happened so fast. It's really been about their calculation about the last 18 months. This acceleration has really moved forward faster. That was pretty scary. So, I can't share their information, as far as like screenshots and stuff like that. It's just one of their rules. I respect that, and that's that. But I did ask today if I would be able to just talk about what they're finding. And they said, sure, no problem. Don't drop our names. Don't drop the colleges and universities that we teach at. And just, don't do it or you're out. And I'm like, look, that's cool. So we were looking at a lot of these articles that have been posted all over the internet, and naturally Google, they control all of this. If we go over here and we type in climate change, you can see what comes up as far as suggestions. Here's one already. Climate change, Australia. I just talked about Australia a few minutes ago. But let's just see what comes up as far as climate change. And that is in the news category here. So, excuse me. Right off the bat, New York Times, and they all pay big money. These news companies, they all pay big money to Google to have their articles come up first. The Atlantic. Again, the Business Insider, CNN. I mean, this is all recent. One of the main issues that me and my climatology friends were talking about today that they unleashed on me was the acidic levels that are occurring right now, and they have been for about this last 18 months, is these acidic levels in the oceans, and now they are actually causing problems in large lakes, seas, and rivers. They said that there's nothing, pretty much. There's nothing that we can do about that. Nothing at all. And they went into some really hardcore scientific talk about that subject, and they, I'm a smart guy, but man, these guys are like top level. So it kind of went over my head about how these acidic levels were happening. I'll get more information on it. I'll break it down so we can all understand it. It is beginning to be one of the main causes of these fish die-offs, but it's also affecting mammals in the sea. Another big problem. There are areas around the world right now that are not getting pounded with rain and storms. They're going through drought. I could attest to that here in the Pittsburgh area. We've barely had any rain throughout August and September already. My lawn, my grass in my yard, it is just about 70% burned out. Everybody in my neighborhood, completely, their lawns are trash. I've even been watering my lawn every single day at 6:30 in the morning. Can't wait to see my water bill. But even the excessive watering is not helping the lawn. I talked about that with the climatologist guys today, and they went into some of my subject matter, and they said, look, we've been hearing about this also, and the extreme ultraviolet rays coming from the sun, it's just literally burning plant life, burning leaves on trees, burning people's lawns, and burning grass. And if you're growing crops and you're not getting rain, well, that's it. Bad crop season. So yes, we may start to see some gradual changes in the supermarket as far as produce goes, and that goes all the way down to like milk and cheese and even the boxed products that you guys buy, because there are byproducts that are in those packages that, like wheat and things of that nature, byproducts that are used to make those boxed products. So we know that this is all transpiring. It seems to be happening at a very, very rapid pace. And that's really strange to me. I mean, well, let's use this word. That's kind of alarming to me because I've never been through anything like this before. And no living human being on this planet has been through this that can go back and talk about it. Tell us what happens. So that's unsettling. It's very unnerving. And there is this big push and this big agenda, folks, to make you believe there's science. I mean, you heard little Greta, the climate girl, and, she was saying that I don't want to hear it from the media. I want to hear, from the scientists. And that's who you should be listening to. Yeah. Well, the problem now, folks, is we really have to take the science with a grain of salt because we don't know if the science has been skewed by the globalists. And I'm not being a conspiracy theorist here, but it is a fact. They control everything that they pretty much want you to see. If they want to push a subject matter, they'll put it out there and it will make its way around the world in seconds. Not my information, not your information, but theirs. Woo! Around the world in seconds. Viral, baby. But not us. Not the truth community. Not the people that are actually out there trying to educate and forewarn. Hell no. But anywho, I'm not going to get into a bunch of Planet X data. They're blocking some things, and I'm going to give you guys a quick prime example here. So let me break into here and show you real quick. Do I have it right here? Where is it? Or is it my screenshot folder? Oh, yeah, right here. So on the 22nd and the 23rd of September, I was expecting to catch another shot, another view, observational view of this object orbiting the sun. It's about that time of the month where I can catch it. 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Yeah. Found it very interesting on the SEEDS website, one of the sites that me and Mark use for detections. Oh, bingo. Sure enough, no data. So I took a couple screenshots and made a post about it, and still no data. And these are screenshots. This isn't the actual website. They're just screenshots I took to create a post. But we can take a look, and let's just take a look and see if these dates are even up. 23rd, 22nd? Nope. Nothing. 23rd? Nothing. Now, the 24th, the data comes back. Never seen that happen before on the SEEDS website with these coronagraphs. So, naturally, that piqued my curiosity. Oh, what the hell went on those 2 days? That 48-hour period. Yeah. You see how they roll. But anyways, out of this climate stuff, let me show you something real quick here. I had this information this morning, but I just didn't have time to get it up on online. Mark over at the Blue Kool-Aid channel, he was talking about this, I think yesterday, possibly, and his latest video. But we got absolutely crushed. Our magnetosphere was pulverized by pulses of this solar wind coming from that large coronal hole that was turning towards the Earth. I've never seen some of these contortions before. I've seen the compressions inward, but something that was really weird, and even Mark talked about it, was how the bow shock. I'm going to go back to this real quick. How the bow shock got pulled outward. If you watch this, you'll see it. It will compress and then it will get pulled outward in a really, really bad contortion. Watch, it should be coming up. See if I could stop it. Right there. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. I've been watching these tools for years and years and years, man. I have never seen anything like that. I don't even know how the hell that can happen. A lot of weird things are happening out there, folks. And maybe we will never know the absolute, pure, 100% truth. But some of the things that are happening are really scary. Some may not think so. Maybe they don't know any better. Maybe they don't know any better. But that was pretty crazy. I've never seen anything like that. I've been monitoring the magnetopause and our magnetosphere for many, many years. Never seen anything like that. Seen complete collapses. Seen the bow shock straighten out. But I've never seen it literally pull away like that. I'm going to have to research that and see what can possibly happen to make that happen. So we'll see. The solar wind has actually started to pick up, and that would be natural compared to the size of that large coronal hole. Here's the big problem, folks. As we dig deeper into that solar minimum, the sun's magnetic field is going to weaken. Our magnetic field is going to weaken. So anytime coronal holes turn towards Earth, the solar wind is going to pick up. The heavily charged particles are going to be streaming towards the Earth. Normally, they would be bouncing off of the bow shock, but that's not going to happen anymore. They are going to flow inward through the northern hemisphere and upward through the southern hemisphere, and they're literally going to break through in larger amounts. That's going to lead to a really, really crazy time with our weather. It's also going to induce a lot of earthquakes, just like I said the other day. Before all of these earthquakes happened in my live stream, not even, 5 days ago? I mean, I said, folks, watch. I mean, this is what's going to happen. We've seen this lull in seismic activity, all these small 4s, small 5s. Watch. Here it comes. Pressure's building up. Boom, we're going to get it. And we still are. I've pointed it out with posts in my on Facebook and our Facebook group. But I just don't have a lot of time to make 2, 3, 4 videos a day because they block me anyways. I mean, only 3,000-4,000 people see my videos, so I do what I can. But this is what we're looking at. And this situation is going to increase. So as we continue to get crazy weather, heavy downpours, we're gonna start to see sea level rise. And for all of you that live on coastal areas, I would say to be on the safe side, I wouldn't want to be any closer than 200 to 300 miles from the coast just to be on the safe side. If you live anywhere from 0 to 50 or 0 to 100 miles from the coast, I would seriously think about maybe making a change soon. Or sea level rise is going to catch up to you, but it may come in the form of huge storms and storm surge that is not going to be your 3 to 4 feet. It's going to be 20, 30. Who knows? Unsurvivable. Your property, your houses will be destroyed. And the possibility of you losing your life increases all the way, straight up. So, that's where we're at here, folks. We're never going to get a straight answer. We do have to continue to do our homework. I do believe they are making it a little bit harder, but I've got myself surrounded with some pretty good people. People that I can trust, and I don't trust a lot of people. I had some guy inbox me today out of nowhere. I don't even know who the hell he is. And he said, look, let me help you. I don't think so. No. I don't need any help from people that I don't know. Absolutely don't know and would not even trust. I have myself surrounded by some pretty smart and intelligent people. And they want the same thing. They actually want to be able to warn people, but under their circumstances, their careers will be ended overnight. And they just can't afford it. Yeah, they just can't afford it. It's catch-22, you know. You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't. It is what it is. I'm going to jump out of this video. I'll show you guys that coronal hole. Is this the latest video I had on it here? Yeah. And you could see this bad boy. That thing's huge. And Earth, we're about right here where my cursor is. So we are just below the Earth's, or the sun's equator. Do 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 do. Yeah. My cell phone's been doing some weird things lately. Like turning itself on and turning itself off. So my cell phone's probably compromised. It's probably been compromised for a lot of years. That's why I don't talk on it too much. But if they want to listen to me, all they got to do is come to YouTube. They could hear me. They could see me. But this is the situation that we're looking at right here, folks. And that's a pretty big-ass coronal hole. And we haven't seen all the effects of it. We still have, by the time all of that solar wind spews out of that big hole, makes its way to Earth, penetrates all the way through the Earth's crust, we will see a definite increase in earthquake activity. And we may see a few volcanoes literally blow their top. So we'll see. Definitely see some wild weather. These situations that are occurring with the solar wind, these heavily charged particles, folks, it is literally charging our upper atmosphere. It's just like supercharging it. So that's why the little rainstorms that we used to have, we don't have those anymore. We have massive torrential downpours. That's where the flooding comes in. That's where the flash flooding comes in all the time. Rock slides, mudslides, hill slides. My God. And then, all of this lightning. One thing that I'm worried about is this supercharged atmosphere of ours and the lightning. Lightning is one of the prime sources for forest fires. So, we're just about to get into that area very soon here. Let's hope that we don't have a situation like we did the last 2 years in a row out there on the west coast of the United States and in several other countries like Italy and Greece and Siberia. I mean, there was even big fires like this in Alaska, for God's sakes. Yeah, so it's getting kind of crazy. And you can clearly see that the information that I've put out over the years, it's not fake, it's not bullshit, it's not fear mongering. It is what it is. Oh, they've removed all these earthquakes. This map was actually splattered with magnitude 4 and 5 earthquakes just about an hour ago. This region down here in Indonesia, they've been getting rocked. Here's your 6.5, very, very shallow. That probably did cause some damage. I'll have to look into it. Recent earthquake 4.2. But whenever you back off of here, you just take a look. 4.8, 4.6, 4.3, 4.6. 4.1. There was a bigger earthquake down here. It's already off the map. This area of Puerto Rico, for the last 48 hours, a multitude of earthquakes. Boom, 4.3, 4.6, 4.2. There was a bigger earthquake a little closer to shore. Backing off, the whole area of California, this whole entire west coast area, all the way out to Idaho, was getting pummeled with seismic activity. Probably overnight, tonight, and tomorrow. What is today? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I would say definitely look for these larger quakes to occur anywhere from now all the way through the weekend into Monday. We'll see, but that's the pattern that we've been in. And that's my science behind it. It's going to happen. So we'll see. But folks, I wanted to point that out to you about these news articles and how they're pushing this climate change agenda. And now all of a sudden, man, it's mainstream. Mainstream. It's all they want to talk about. It's all that's out there. I'll be posting articles more frequently now. Just about every day I have articles, new articles going up on the Planet X News website. Did one article about that second interstellar visitor that's blowing or going to be blowing through our solar system. Wow, all of a sudden we have all of these massive interstellar objects coming into our solar system. Yeah. Was it me that was talking about the increase in asteroids and meteors since 2016 and many other truthers? Oh, we didn't know what the fuck we were talking about. Apparently we do. Sorry for dropping the F-bomb. It just seemed the right thing to do at the time. Another article I just wrote up here. I put a lot into this one. And powerful disaster-inducing geomagnetic storm is inevitable. And basically what I'm saying here in this article is talking about some of the Carrington event and what we can be faced with. And it is inevitable in this lifetime. I mean, it could happen tomorrow. But this is a good article, and there's a lot of good information here for you guys to read, and it will bring you up to speed. And I did not take my information from these mainstream scientists. I go by what I've researched over the years and what I know. And I put some pictures in here and some things to explain things for you. But this is definitely a good read. I take us back in history a little bit into space weather. But these geomagnetic storms, solar flash, Major Ed Dames has talked about it. Corey Good has talked about it. David Wilcock has talked about it. George Norrie has talked about it. I've talked about it for years. Going into this solar minimum, that type of situation that you see right there becomes a bigger and bigger and bigger danger to our planet, especially our electrical grid. And if a large portion of the Earth's electrical grid was actually destroyed, not just damaged a little bit, destroyed, this world, this Earth, would be in total darkness. And we'd be in some big trouble. And it's not a 1, 2, 3 fix either. There are estimates out there that state that repairing the energy grid like that, the electrical grid, could take years and years. Well, hell, look at the poor folks in Puerto Rico. There are still some of these people without damn power after their hurricane season last year. What the hell? So this is what we're facing in true reality. Take it or leave it. Believe it or not. It's up to you. But I'll tell you this much, folks. I don't mean to sound arrogant or egotistical like some of you call me names. But if you don't believe what I'm telling you, and you don't believe what some of the other real truthers are digging up, and I'm talking real research. I'm not talking about some dumbass videos on YouTube with people that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. It's real easy to pull up an article and just read it and tell you about it. It's one thing to do actual research and get down to the bottom of it. If you don't believe what I'm telling you, and you don't start taking precautions and making just minor preparations for yourself and your family, and that may even include your location where you live, if you don't start paying attention, you're going to put your life at risk. You're going to put your family's life at risk. You may make it, you may not make it. But I think that it is much better for everybody to have a more than general understanding of what's happening and why. Look, I'm going to be honest. It's got me worried. I never expected the acceleration of all of this to happen as it is, happening so fast. And I think the elite, I think the globalists, I think the governments, the majority of the governments around the world, they know it. They know it. You're going to see more protests in the streets of major cities around the world. You are going to see more and more and more and more climate change propaganda all over social media, all over the internet, all over television, all over the news. It is literally going to be rammed down your throat. Why? Because it's the way they program you, folks. It's the way that they program you. Trust me on that. Anyways, folks, I said I wasn't going to have a 2-hour live stream, and I meant it. I'll be back with you guys probably tomorrow. I'm gonna dig up some more information from my climatology guys, and I'm gonna see what I could share with you. As far as you folks that live in these coastal communities, I've gotten a lot of emails and messages from you folks. And I know you're scared, and I know that there are things that you're unsure of. I can't literally get out there and physically help you, but what I can do is provide you with the sense of what's happening, what's going to happen. As it states in this article, it is inevitable. You may not have been a victim last week, but you may be a victim next week. So if you're a gambler, hell, take the chance. See if you can ride it out. It's on you. I'll put the information out as I find it. You folks can guarantee that I will never, ever lie to you. I will never put out fake or false information. And remember, knowledge is power. And that is something that they want to take away from us. They want to take away that knowledge. They want to keep you dumbed down. And they want you programmed with their programming. Anyways, folks, share this video. Let other people know. And watch what you're reading on social media. Take it all in, but be very analytical. And if you want, join our Planet X News Facebook group, and you could share some of your findings. And it will help all of us. Anyways, folks, take care. Be safe out there. Watch your weather, no matter where you're at. Stay tuned to Planet X News. Take care, folks.